there's certainly a shortage of affordable inventory. And I think, you know, one of the things a lot of agents complain about that. I think there's a lot of opportunity in the marketplace for us as professionals to step up and source some better inventory.
Rockstar Nation, thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to stay to the end, where our guests will be offering a free gift. As you know, all of our guests offer a free gift, and all of these gifts can be found on the Agent Success Toolbox. You could find that by going to hibandigital.com/toolbox, or simply texting the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox to 444-999. I am going to put today's free gift in today's show notes, but if you want all of them, including gifts from most of our guests that have come on the show, just go to the Agent Success Toolbox. So the big question is this: how do most agents who don't have access to the secrets that the top agents in our industry hoard to themselves grow and prosper in today's real estate environment? That's the question. And this video podcast is the answer. I'm Pat Hyben, and welcome to Real Estate Rockstars. Do the math. It's worth every single dollar. That's a title of a comment that I got on my certified listing agent course from Rebus University. It's from Bill Reeg. This is what Bill says. Bill says, looking to take your listing presentation to the next level? I've closed 100 appointments since I took Pat's certified listing agent course. 5 appointments, 5 new clients, 60 days. Boom. Do the math. It's worth every single dollar. Thanks, Bill. But listen, guys, I am offering this to you if you haven't already taken it, because so many brokers and teams make their agents take it before they do a single listing appointment. But if you haven't taken it, you can go to rebusuniversity.com and get it now. Now, here's the thing. For 30 days, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you that course. I'm going to give you the buyer agent course, which teaches you how to close every single serious buyer that calls on the phone or emails. This certified team agent course is taught by Jeff Cohn, one of America's top agents, on how to build a team from zero to hero to hundreds and hundreds of units every year, step by step. It's like a 12-hour course, plus 7 other courses. Yes, you heard that right. All for a measly $127 a month. If you were to go to Rebus University and buy these courses individually, it costs you over $10,000. But today, if you go to futureofrealestatetraining.com, that's futureofrealestatetraining.com, you'll learn what Bill Reeg did, which is how to close 100% of the listing appointments you go on. Quite impressive. And you'll learn all the other incredible details provided in the 11 5-star courses that are offered. Yeah, it's like all you can eat bazaar. You go in now and you pay $127 a month. If you can eat all 11 courses in 1 month, that's all you pay is $197. This is a bargain, guys. Get it now. futureofrealestatetraining.com.
Real Estate Rockstars, welcome back for a Friday morning state of the market. Some fun real estate news we're going to be talking about today. Today, I've got my great friend, Chad Corbett, on here talking. Chad, you've got this awesome map behind you. It says travel. Where are you tuning in from today?
This is home base. Shockingly, I'm actually in Roanoke, Virginia. And soon headed to Aspen. Not soon enough, but soon.
Yes, sir. I will see you in Aspen next week. We have a awesome GoBundance retreat that's going to be there. Chad's first GoBundance retreat. Chad, you and I, we did deals together in Roanoke years ago. How many years ago was that?
2013, 14. It's been quite a few.
So you're going to go from Virginia to Aspen, and then you also spend a lot of time in Florida with your real estate company. Tell us what you do down there.
Sure. So I'm one of the co-founders of a company called All the Leads. We have offices in Central Florida on the Space Coast. So I spend quite a bit of time in Florida. Some here in Virginia, some in Toronto, and the rest is just I am a professional vagabond entrepreneur, I guess. It's hard to say. Hard to say. Like my parents, when they call, they're like, "Where are you again?"
Yeah, we're gonna get to talk again in the coming weeks. I know I want to get you on here to get to talk about All the Leads and and what you guys do for real estate agents. Most of our listeners are new real estate agents. Well, not saying new real estate agents, but most of our listeners are real estate agents that want to know how to succeed in real estate. They want to find the secrets in real estate. And then the State of the Market is a weekly episode we do that gets to talk about the fun real estate news, but it is the news that we think that's going to help real estate agents out there. We think that it's stuff that they should be listening to, paying attention to. We pulled some pieces of news out today. Most of them were from Inman. Man, we should get Inman to sponsor this podcast, because so much of what we talk about, they are some of the best at grabbing news and bringing it out for us. And we find fun real estate news from other places too, but this week that's where it came to. So one of the first things I want to talk about with you, Chad, I thought maybe it'd be kind of funny. The article says, $100 million Coldwell Banker agent leaves Compass after 3 weeks. And if you've been listening to the State of the Market podcasts out there, you listeners, we've been talking about Compass a lot. Compass has been making it in the news a lot, and there were a lot of predictions at the beginning of the year for Compass. But I thought it was really, really an interesting article. It says Frankel, a 20-year veteran of Coldwell Banker, closed $98 million in sales in 2018. And so 3 weeks ago, it looked like he was, leaving Coldwell Banker for Compass. And after just 3 weeks of working at Compass, now he's returned to Coldwell Banker. It's a funny article. When I first saw that, I'm like, that had to be a setup for Coldwell Banker to get more stuff. But Chad, did you read that article? Did you see any of the info out there? What do you think's happening with Compass and Coldwell Banker and all the agents that people say they're taking?
So my first reaction, if you've followed Compass, you've definitely heard about the litigation that they're in with Realogy and the claim that they're unfairly taking market share or recruiting agents, and they're getting the market share because they get the agents. But my first reaction to this was, this looks like a mid-litigation stunt. And Compass said, well, let's stick it to them. And I'm sure they probably offered this guy a tremendous buyout. Like, they offered him an attractive package, and he got over there and realized that wasn't exactly what he thought it would be. And who knows? The details are limited, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was made another offer to come back in the other direction. What I found interesting, and I'll bet he probably regrets, is the article cites that he actually left his agents behind. They stayed with Compass, some of them. I think I don't know. It would be interesting to hear the real story from the source, but it's they're still tied up. I think they're in arbitration now it's not litigation. I misspoke, but there's a dispute, let's just say, because Compass has been, they're a disruptor in the space, and they get a lot of airtime, but I think they have the third brokerage in the country based on volume in 2019.
I got to say, when people start suing and doing lawsuits that are like unfair business practices, and I haven't read the lawsuit, so I don't know the details. But man, what happened to just like going out there and competing? Like the best business guy wins, and if somebody's taking your agents, like, really, are they breaking the law when they're taking your agents, or are they just out negotiating you? Like what do you think? What do you think about that? Like, so do people play fair? Should people be suing people more often, or just, your opinion? Do you think people get in court too often, or you think not enough?
No, I'm not a big fan of litigation. I think so. It's that Compass's whole thing was, let's be the most well-capitalized brokerage in the space, and that will attract the talent. And if you look at how Realogy built their brand, they used a similar model. They became well-capitalized, and they bought up a series of brokerages. Most of them were franchise brokerages. Compass kind of did that at first. This, to me, and this is just my opinion, but it seems like phase two. So they went after the indie brokerages, and they bought these amazing brokerages that were, really trusted in their markets. And now that seemed to be kind of phase one. And now they're going after the individual agents that are part of these bigger franchise brokerages. And that's where they're really disrupting in the space. Like, it wasn't so contentious when they were making these amazing offers of some of the valuations that they've paid for these indie brokerages. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, come by me.
It's amazing. But nobody had a problem with that. It's when they start threatening these other, conglomerates that built in a different environment. So I agree with you. I think the response of filing lawsuits to try to stifle your competition is weak. I get it. I mean, I may do the same if I were at the helm, but
Right. Maybe it's just a business strategy too. It's like they're, like you said, could just be trying to slow them down. I also think, there's been so many mergers in the real estate technology space and acquisition. I mean, you and I are talking about this all the time, of companies that are going and buying more stuff inside buying up other companies, merging. Sometimes it's getting rid of employees that are there. Sometimes they're just helping them grow. I wonder if we're going to start to see some of the same stuff as these mergers, as these real estate, software companies get bigger and bigger and bigger. Are they going to start suing each other and saying, "Hey, we think you copied our idea. We think you did that"? And have you heard anything like that happening? I haven't.
I haven't either, and I'm kind of shocked because it's amazing to me how well capitalized the tech space is in real estate. Like I mean, the amount of risk in that type of an investment for the venture capital firms. But I mean, you've got like CRMs, for example, so like an all-in-one platform. That's one of the most competitive spaces in the tech and the real estate tech space, and a lot of people are doing very similar things. But as far as I know, they've played nice. They're competing the way you and I think that they should compete, rather than trying to drag competitors into litigation and drag them through the mud. And they're more focused on looking forward at what their vision is and their strategic plan than they are trying to bring down their competition so they don't have to compete. And I respect that.
Yeah. Well, as soon as I see, this tech company finally sued somebody else, you're going to be the first person I call to come back on the news. Let's jump news a little bit. Really interesting news on here. The agent sentenced to prison for role in foreclosure kickback scheme. I own a foreclosure listing company, but so many times people are like, are foreclosures still happening? Like, why is this even something that we're talking about? But it says, Jeffrey Detloff is accused of steering maintenance and repair contracts to companies that provided his own firm a kickback. Minnesota couple running a market and asset management real estate firm were sentenced in U.S. District Court this week for their part in a long-running fraud scheme. Realtor, according to the Department of Justice, and the owner of Detloff Marketing and Asset Management, was accused of running an illegal bidding and kickback scheme in connection with foreclosed properties. Did you look into the details of that? Did you see what he was doing out there?
So it looked to me like he was basically, he got the contractors to agree to include his markup in the quote, and then he would submit that invoice, or not the quote, but the invoice. He would submit that to the lender, and then when that padded markup came through, the contractor would kick it back to his company.
Yeah, so if people don't really understand how foreclosures happen, it's in a lot of places it's been a while since foreclosures were so prevalent. So I should have looked into the details of what year he was really doing this. Maybe this was old news that he's finally getting in trouble.
I think it was, so they referenced from 90, like he had a salesperson's license from 91 to 2014, and then he's been a broker since 2014. So if I had to get, it wasn't clear when these violations began or stopped, but I would guess that it was probably in that 08 to 2011 range.
Yeah, agents, when you're out there, if you're a real estate agent, you have a fiduciary responsibility, right? So because he's a licensed agent and not a contractor, there's more responsibility in that. If the bank was hiring him just as a contractor to give him a quote, I mean, he could mark it up however much he wanted. And it's like, you're a contractor. You could pay somebody $500 and charge $1,000 as a contractor. You can do whatever you want. But as an agent, or as a real estate agent, the banks own, hundreds of houses or thousands of houses or tens of thousands of houses. And they hire these local agents to act on their behalf and say, hey, go get this work done. And if an agent goes out there and they start, they have an ability to write checks with the bank's money, right? So they're using the bank's money to do that. And the bank's trusting them on who they hire. And this guy said, hey, he's going to start hiring friends. He's going to start hiring other people. The bank doesn't care. The bank's not checking. I can pay them whatever I want. And I think my understanding is the part where it goes wrong is when he gets a kickback. Like he could hire them and say, hey, you could pay a fair rate to any sort of contractor. But as soon as he's getting a kickback, that means he knows that he's overpaying for a job and getting that back. So I think that happens a lot. I don't know if people prosecute enough for it. I don't know if people get caught a lot for it. But if you're an agent out there, you should know that that's a crime. Like if it's happening like that, the truth of the matter is that's illegal. And And yeah,
Yeah, I think they're making the DOJ is making a statement here too, because I mean, not only did they hit him with like restitution that was 3 times the actual, the dollar amount that he had actually, violated
yeah,
the banks for. Like it was 3 times restitution, and then I think he got 16 years and his wife got 7, or excuse me, 16 months, and his wife got 7 months, I believe is what it was.
yeah. 16 months, a lot different than 16 years, but still, right? Like he thinks that he's just doing a business. He's like, oh, I'm making a couple $100,000. No, $593,000 fine, 17 months in prison. That's a big deal. It is a big, big deal. And I think you're right. I think they are trying to make a statement. So the best part of that news out there for all you real estate agents out there is be careful, do what you're supposed to do. Don't cut corners and don't take kickbacks. If you take a kickback from somebody and you don't disclose that to your buyer or your seller, whoever you're representing, I mean, there's lots of partnerships with home inspection companies and home warranty and that. But if you don't disclose that, that's a big deal.
Tribeofmillionaires.com. Guys, write that down. Rockstar Nation got a free special offer for you. Now, I've just written a book, and it's just been published. Co-authored it with David Osborne, who's been on this show multiple times. If you don't know David, he is one of the top execs at Keller Williams Real Estate, was personally mentored for the last 2 decades by Gary Keller himself, and he's in all kinds of businesses. His bio and explanation and everything is in this book. But anyways, David and I got together. We decided to write a book. We called it Tribe of Millionaires. And I guarantee you it's going to change your life. To find out more, just go to tribeofmillionaires.com. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. Only thing we ask in return is, of course, number one, you pay the shipping. Not a big deal. But number two, that you go on Amazon and write us a review. We're really looking to get an incredible amount of reviews. And because of that, we're giving this book away for free. Go to tribeofmillionaires.com today. Hey, real estate agents and rock stars. If you're getting value out of the content in this episode, make sure you like the video and subscribe to this channel. Also, click the little bell icon to be notified about upcoming episodes. And I would also love it if you left a comment and shared the most impactful tips and tactics you've learned from the knowledge shared in this episode, or even maybe make a suggestion requesting a topic of what you'd like to learn in future episodes. I welcome any feedback below. Now, back to the episode.
Jumping to something that's different, maybe better news out there. It says, despite softening price growth, it's a seller's market. Now, what's funny is the news changes every week. Last week, we're talking about interest rates keeping people out there. Is it softening price growth? Is it going up? Is it a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? It says it's still a seller's market. What that would tell you, supply is down, stuff's going up. But it also, when they come out with these stats, you have to see what it's coming up from. So it says, according to Adam Data Solutions, I think those are great guys. I know a lot of people over there, inside that company. Home seller profits increased for 3 years in a row, rising to $65,500 in 2019. Despite home price growth softening in some of the nation's most expensive markets, it's still a seller's market, according to Adam Data Solutions report released Thursday. The average homeowner who sold their home in 2019 experienced a home price gain of $65,000, representing a whopping 34% return on investment compared to their original price. So for the past 2 years, homeowners have experienced record home price gains. But let's unpack that a little bit. So it says, the people that sold their house in 2019 sold it for $65,000 more than they bought it for, which was a 34% return on investment. So 34%, that means the average home sale price of that is $200,000. So average price that they're talking about sold for $200,000 and they bought it for $135,000. But that could mean they bought it 10 years ago for $135,000. That could mean they bought it 5 years ago. And also, they didn't make $65,000, right? So if you buy your house and you sell your house, that means that you paid an agent, probably. You paid a commission. You had closing costs. You got 7% on that. But I mean, on a $200,000 house, I think that's probably 15, 20 grand on that. Maybe there's some concessions in there, but so they're still selling it for, 60,000 or for 40,000 more. Maybe they're going to walk away with 40,000 bucks in their pocket, I guess is what I'm trying to say there. But what do you think out there? Did you see that article? So talked about 82% gains in some places. Do you feel like it's a seller's market right now?
So I think, it's kind of a cliche answer, but every market's local. And I think that a lot of articles like this that try to encompass the entire country can be misleading because you're focused on the top 10 or top 25 MSAs. So you've got markets like San Francisco where when lines of credit froze in 2008, builders fell way behind and you have hardly any inventory. So prices are just skyrocketing, but there's jobs there to support that. Where you've got, the mid America markets aren't exactly as overheated as those. So, I mean, it's as you blend the whole country together, you can influence perception. I think that, there's certainly a shortage of affordable inventory. And I think, one of the things a lot of agents complain about that. I think there's a lot of opportunity in the marketplace for us as professionals to step up and source some better inventory. As a company owner and a real estate investor who works in that space of distressed real estate, I know and that 25% of every market happens under the realtor's radar, right? And I've been licensed in 4 different states and worked in several different markets, and I coach people in all 50 states. There's, whether it's vacant houses, probate, code violations, there's inventory out there. If agents could kind of, I guess, step up and raise their skill set, they could be producing inventory and helping out with the problem and the affordability problem. I do think, obviously with a supply, with a shortage of supply, you're going to have a seller's market, and buyers are attracted to the low interest rate. So, now's the time to buy if we could find a place. So I think most markets are, it's still in the seller's advantage. But I think that I went down a rabbit hole, but I think that real estate professionals could help that, help find affordable inventory if they would just think creatively instead of just waiting for those houses to be built, because that's not going to happen overnight, right?
Yeah. I like your point of when, how local it really is. And as I looked through that news and kind of seeing what's out there in those different places, you talked about interest rates too. One of the notes that it said on there is all cash purchases have dropped to their lowest level since 2007, which that baffles me too. So 2007, right now, all cash purchasers are at their lowest level since then. I feel like I see a lot of, cash investors out there, but it says as more buyers have begun taking advantage of low interest rates and FHA loans. So maybe there's people out there that could be spending. And so we talked about interest rates last week and so I think that's an interesting part of that news too. The seller's market out there, maybe there are less cash buyers out there, or maybe cash buyers out there are super smart and they're like, loans are so low that I could buy in cash, but I want to buy a lot of real estate, so I'm going to buy more. So I'm gonna jump
that, or they believe it's the top of the market and they're sidelining their cash for right now. You've got Warren Buffett's been taking pressure from his board for doing just that, but he's a value investor. So I think it's definitely different than 2007. But what's really interesting to me, the sentiment sure seems a lot like it did in 2007. What's different is, we deleveraged after the 08, 09 kind of meltdown. So I don't think you're going to have the same kind of correction. But I think there are a lot of people who are just sitting on the sidelines saying, you know what, I'm not going to pay that. I'll let my cash sit for a bit, or I'll buy, mobile home parks for right now until this cools down, because I think 2007 is fresh enough in everyone's memory. They saw so many people get wiped out that I know a lot of people who, normally are really aggressively flipping homes that are sitting on the sidelines right now waiting. So,
yeah. I think there could be a lot of strategy in that too, where you're like, people that a lot of us have been thinking for a year, almost 2 years, like, hey, this market's about to turn and it's still going up and it's still going up. So maybe it's the idea of going, you know what, I want to have cash on the sidelines in case it makes the turn. So maybe a lot of those cash buyers are putting their cash to the side, but they're not stopping operations. Like I'm not stopping operations right now, but there are more lenders out there. There are more investment lenders out there. So I could say I could buy this in cash, but why bother? I'm going to keep this cash in case the market turns. I'm going to use, loans to go ahead and invest and maybe invest a little slower. That could be happening. The last piece of article I wanted to jump into, which is pretty related to what we just talked about, especially your first comment on it. It says these 3 satellite cities are outshining their larger neighbors. Oakland, Scottsdale, St. Paul attracting more renters than their larger counterparts, thanks to the affordable cost of living. Because as rent growth reaches untenable levels in some of America's most populous cities, renters are turning their sights to nearby satellite cities with similar amenities and lower housing prices. According to Zumper Rental Market Analysis released Thursday, Oakland, California, Scottsdale, Arizona, St. Paul, Minnesota are experiencing higher levels of renter demand than their more expensive neighbors. Now, when you first think about that makes a lot of sense, right? Like if you're renting a house in San Francisco, you're going to pay so much for it. It's just like, it's the same as buying houses. So it's talking about rentals to me, to me, it's the same as buying. If you're going to buy in the heart of Austin, Texas, you're going to pay millions and millions of dollars, which was unfathomable 10 years ago. But if you go just 20 minutes outside of town, you're still able to get a great house for $200,000. Great house for $300,000, just a short 20, 30-minute drive away. So this article is talking about rentals, but what do you think about tertiary markets? What do you think about secondary markets? When you're out there, when you heard this, we were like, well, yeah, duh, of course that's happening. Or is there anything surprising in that news?
No, I mean, when you look at, some of the top 10 MSAs, people are spending north of 50% of their income on housing and the rental space. And it's not, I'll say that the percentage of household, the percentage of income spent, household income spent on a mortgage, like on home ownership, is actually, it's pretty much where it should be. It's around, I think, 19% nationwide. But when you get into those top 10 MSAs, it becomes a lot more than that. I spend a lot of time in Canada, and Toronto is another market that I watch. And up there, I think people are spending north of 40% of their income on a mortgage there, and rents are even worse than that. And so it becomes unsustainable. And with wage growth, adjusted, like wage growth hasn't been tremendous over, we talk about 75% appreciation in home prices. Whose income, how many average Americans have saw a 75% increase in income over that same time frame? But I think, especially for agents listening, if you're in like secondary or tertiary markets, I think there's a huge opportunity to represent buyer, owner occupant buyers, but also absentee owners, because a lot of the investors in San Francisco, Seattle, most of the major, like the top 25 MSAs, they've been priced out of their own markets. And there's an opportunity for, if you want to step up and really insulate your business against the downturn, you can do that by representing investors. And, if you're sitting in a suburb of St. Louis, and there's tons of capital. Like if you go to any real estate convention right now, it's shocking how much capital is out there looking for assets. But if I was a real estate agent in one of those secondary or tertiary markets in the Midwest, or really anywhere, I think there's a massive opportunity. And for the people who are in that primary market, like if you're in San Francisco, in Austin, for example, is a great example. So it's only a 10-mile drive to a blue ocean, right? So you're fiercely competing for limited inventory at a super high price right in the core of downtown. But if you drive 15 miles up the road, you're in a suburban market with way less competition and way better values. So I think it creates a lot of opportunity that wouldn't exist otherwise in those secondary and tertiary markets for the right agents who can step up and know how to serve those buyers and how to find those buyers and how to serve them.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on that. And I think my last piece of opinion before we close out on that, is really that, like those tertiary markets, there's like two really good things going on. I've been lucky enough as an investor to find and discover that those are the best places for me to invest. Right. So if I could invest 30 to 40 miles outside Austin, the two good things are going to happen. The price is going to significantly go down, and the demand for renters also significantly goes up. So whereas if I was going to be close to Austin buying rentals, you're only going to be able to invest and get a 4, 5, 6% cap rate. But you start to go 30, 40, 50 miles out of town, you're not only getting that house for cheaper, you have that high rent demand. Now you're actually getting an 8%, cash on cash return after all expenses, after everything else. So I love tertiary markets. I think it's there. So when I first see this and go, hey, yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm not surprised by that news, but I think that it must be newsworthy for the sense that maybe it's a secret out there. Maybe people aren't always thinking. So I think the best advice we can give is to tell those real estate agents and investors out there that are listening to this, if you haven't considered tertiary markets yet, the news is out there. It's booming. Check out these articles. You can see where they're at. You can see the spots and maybe there's an opportunity to represent investors out there. There's an opportunity to represent renters out there. That's a pitch when someone's trying to sell their home or buy their home, when you get out there. So that is the news today for today's State of the Market. Chad, it was super fun to have you on here. I know we'll have them on again, but if people wanted to find you, I want to be able to talk to you out there. Do you have a social media handle people can come find you at?
So it's my name's Chad Corbett. You can find me on Facebook. The place where I'm most likely to be keeping an eye on is we have a private group for real estate professionals called All the Leads Mastermind. And that's what I most closely monitor because there's just so many places to keep in touch with right now. So.
I love being on there with those. Find Chad at All the Leads. Come find me on Facebook, Aaron Amuchastegui on Instagram, or at RE Rockstars on Instagram. Make sure that if somebody shared this with you and you haven't downloaded and subscribed yet, subscribe to the podcast. Every week we do State of the Market. We do 2 other podcasts a week from real estate agents out there teaching you their secrets or providers. We had some great people on this week. So subscribe, listen to past ones, come find us. Come find me on social, ask me questions about real estate. Tell me the news we should be talking about next week. We'd be happy to do it. So again, Chad, thanks for coming on. Real Estate Rockstars, we will talk to you next week. Thank you.
I want you to think about the word toolbox. What is a toolbox? A toolbox is a box full of tools that you use to build something great. At Real Estate Rockstars, we've created our own free toolbox. So everybody that comes on the show as a guest brings a tool with them, and we plow them all into this toolbox, and we give it away for our viewing audience to basically use as they wish. Everything we put in there is an actionable item that can be downloaded, can be printed, can be used immediately. And we got things like scripts and dialogues, checklists for teams, checklists to keep agents accountable, referral forms that are filled out at settlement to get referrals by your buyers and sellers. Everything you could think of that you could use on a regular basis about real estate is included in this toolbox, and it's helping agents worldwide sell more houses and make their jobs a lot easier and processes much more efficient. And the thing is, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is go to hibandigital.com/toolbox or text the word toolbox to 444-999. That's toolbox 444-999. Do it now. Rockstar Nation, thank you for listening to Real Estate Rockstars. Listen, I need a favor. If you find this free content helpful, if you find our downloadable items from each guest helpful, please, I need you to pull out your pointing finger. Yes, the one finger that points at people, and hit subscribe. Yes, subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the better we look in the ratings, and the easier it is to get guests like Robert Kiyosaki, Barbara Corcoran, all the players that are on $1 million listing in the different cities. All that stuff makes it easier the more subscribers we get. So please subscribe. And listen, there's a lot of places you can leave comments. There's a lot of places you can like. We're on Facebook. We have an Instagram page. Instagram page is I am Pat Hyben. The Facebook is Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Feel free to leave us comments there. The most popular form of commenting seems to happen on YouTube. Yes, for whatever reason, it's a very open environment. So just go to YouTube and go to Real Estate Rockstars Radio. Leave us comments there. Some of them we will read on the show. We love your feedback. So thanks, guys, and I hope you are having a great day. Oh, and also, listen, if you're going to subscribe and you haven't already left a review on iTunes, please do that too. Have a great day, and thanks so much, Rockstar Nation. I really appreciate you.